Hello, my name is Buddy Childress, and I'm Executive Director of Needles Eye Ministries. We are really happy to have you with us today for a monthly speaker series. We hope you enjoy it.
Good morning, afternoon, and thank you for coming on this day that's sort of messy, so let me hope that I can be a little ray of sunshine in your dark and gloomy day. I would like to thank Buddy and Lisa and all the people at Needles Eye for giving me this opportunity to speak with you and give you my testimony. Although I do feel like I should be a caboose when I think about the hills coming up next month, for me to be giving my testimony, which is simply I blew what I had and now God has picked me back up. When I read the book of Job, I think about the worst thing that could have happened, all the bad things that could have happened to him. The worst to me is the loss of a child. And I'm looking forward to hearing Alan and Tammy Hill myself because of their loss of a child. To say I was born into a well-to-do family is understatement. I grew up without ever having to wonder about where anything was coming from next, whether or not that was a meal, a car, a bicycle, where I was going to go to school, or anything. My parents sent me to the best private schools, both here and in Connecticut. They sent me to the best college, private college. Buddy, you skipped over Hampton-Sydney mighty quickly, you Randolph-Macon guy. I was able to get some very good jobs. While I did the interviewing, my connections through my family got me the opportunities to get those interviews, and I basically never thought of God or God having anything to do with anything that I did. I was not listening to God, nor did I care about listening to God, because I didn't need God. I had it all, and I could do anything on my own. So when Buddy and Lisa asked me to do this, I started looking back and thinking back on some of the things that have gone on in my life prior to now, where God was trying to talk to me, and I would hear him when I wanted to and not hear him when I wanted to. When I was 14 years old, I got into a lot of trouble. And I mean, this was not just trouble with my parents, it was trouble with the law because of driving a car when I was still 14 years old. And the car got wrecked. I did not wreck it, but somebody else did. And I was put on strict super secret probation, as they said in Animal House, for 6 months. And my father and mother told me that there was no way I could do anything but go to school and go to church. So, sneaky little me, I went and got in hard with St. Stephen's Church, and I became president of the Young Churchmen of Virginia with St. Stephen's so that I could go out and see my friends and the girls and do anything I wanted to do for me, and it had nothing to do with God or any sort of altruism. They sent me to Avon Old Farm School in Connecticut, and every time I would run for an office for student council or something, a president of the school or anything like that, I would get on my knees and I'd pray, God, please help me get this position. And sure enough, God answered my prayer and got me the position, and I said, heck with you, you didn't have anything to do with that, I did it. I went on to Hampton-Sydney College, and I'm using this as a segue to what's next, to be honest, but I joined the Sigma Chi fraternity. And the Sigma Chi fraternity, they're based in Constantine, so it does have some Christianity based to it. Now, symbol is a white cross that we're supposed to always be seeking. Well, unfortunately, I was very good at seeking the white cross, but as an academic, truly, I spent whole minutes in my books at Hampton-Sydney. And I quickly got a 1A status. And so that summer, Lewis Buford and I, who had enlisted in the Army, we went around the country and had a great time, and then I went in the Marine Corps. And the next thing you know, it's September of 1969, and I'm at Parris Island, South Carolina. You talk about somebody who was talking to God all of a sudden. I carried a Bible in my field jacket. I went to chapel every opportunity that I had and to go see the chaplains, not only to get away from the drill instructors, but that was also a good opportunity to get some sleep. And the one thing that people don't know about Parris Island, Mac Pace, my ex-wife's husband, knows, because the last thing you do at Parris Island is you have a job. You just have a job. And most people get a job to where they are cleaning up the PX, cleaning up the commissary, working in the admin building, doing something like that. Well, for some reason, out of all the people in my platoon, I was made the chaplain's assistant in the Episcopal Church on Parris Island. Huh? But I continued down my own path. I got married, we had 2 children, and I was a lousy father, and I was a lousy husband. I did not pay attention to my wife or my children, and for that I am sorry. Because I knew that with everything I had, I could do whatever I want and everything would still be just fine. Sure, I got on all the right boards. I got on the boys' home. I got on the boys' club. I got on everything that I could possibly get on. But what I was doing was padding my obituary because I wanted everybody to see what a great guy I was when I finally left this earth. I also was I sang in the choir at St. Stephen's Church. And one year, somebody had put me up for the vestry. And I prayed to God to get elected to the vestry, and I didn't. Doggone you, God. Why did you do this to me? I didn't get elected to the vestry, so to heck with God and heck with St. Stephen's Church. And I turned my back on them and went on my way. And after 15 years of me behaving like this, my wife said to me, you know, I really can't live with you doing this anymore. It's got to be some give and take here. And I said, okay, that's fine. And rather than try to help make things happen, we got divorced. I went and got my own house, and I said, heck, I can do this always on my own. And I still had enough resources and inheritance to where I was able to buy a nice, successful business called Woodland Industries and in 1986. And for approximately 5 or 6 years, it prospered tremendously. And I was having a great time buying everything I wanted to do. If there was a new car, I got that new car, and God had nothing to do with this. I also met the daughter of one of the previous owners and married her, and we have 2 children together. And while I am somewhat better, up until the past couple of years, I was a pretty bad father and a pretty bad husband there too, because everything was being done for me and me only. I was trying to make myself big in the eyes of my peers, my children, and my superiors. I was quite frankly doing what the Bible calls worshiping the wrong master, because the master was money and things. I was under the impression he who dies with the most toys wins. In 1993, as everybody knows, the economy started to turn down, and R.J. Reynolds, which happened to be our largest customer, went through the largest leverage buyout in the financial history at the time, and my business went to heck in a handbasket. And I had to sell to a Canadian manufacturer in 1995 and actually took some great losses. And now I'm beginning to say, hey, Lord, why are you doing this to me? Look at all I've done for you over the years. I've just been the greatest guy in the world. But I still can do it on my own because I still have some assets that I can still work with. So I become a business broker and I get my real estate license and do commercial real estate. But I'm not really working very hard at it. And I'm beginning to dig into those assets to help support my life and everything that needs to do. And I'm beginning to say daily, why me, Lord? Why are you doing this to me? Come on, help me out. It needs to help. You need to do something to help yourself out too. So let's jump forward to 2005, and I decided to take the money on our house, which we had no mortgage, and I took a very large mortgage out on my house and invested in a commercial real estate trust out of Chicago. And for almost 2.5 years, it worked very well. I was getting checks coming in on a monthly basis. One investment I went into returned me over 24% in less than 14 months. It was going great. And then all of a sudden, the checks started getting sporadic, and then they stopped. And next thing I know, I get a notice from the SEC that the company is actually a Madoff real estate type scheme. I've lost everything, and it's in receivership. Why me, Lord? Why are you doing this to me? I'm now embarrassed, ashamed, mad at myself and at God. And why me, Lord? I needed some more money, so I told everybody that I was leaving the Country Club of Virginia because my arthritis in my hips was so bad that I couldn't play enough golf and it wasn't worth it. The truth of the matter is I owned a share of stock in the Country Club of Virginia in order to sell it and get the $30,000 I had to resign. So I did. Again, I'm lying to everybody, including God. I'm now down to using my last asset, which happened to be my IRA, and I am 59.5 at that point, so I could take it out without tax consequences. Why me, Lord? Then I have the good fortune of having lunch with a good friend of mine, Jack McSweeney, and we were eating lunch in the basement of the Commonwealth Club, and I was telling him about all this that had happened and told him that I am actually considering suicide because that's the one way that my family could get the life insurance on my life. And while Jack and I are talking, a guy named Bill Latouche, who is a wonderful person if any of you know him, comes in, but he is rude as can be. He butts into our conversation and sits down, and he says, George, what you need to do is you need to go talk to this woman named Lisa Ratner at this place called Needle's Eye Ministries. And he gave me her number, and I said, thanks, Bill, that's very nice of you. Well, under my breath, I was saying, this is a crock of crap.